So I was at the doctor this week and I first and foremost don't want kids. So I was asking her about getting my tubes tied, make sure I never have to have kids because I have so many side effects with birth control. She was like, "You're never gonna find a doctor who's gonna tie your tubes at 28," which made me think, so me as a grown adult woman, a doctor won't tie my tubes in case I change my mind that I may want kids one day. However, doctors are castrating children. But I'm a 28-year-old woman and a doctor won't tie my tubes in case I change my mind. Make it make sense.
The medical institution has been ideologically captured by critical theory, and critical theory is different and fundamentally at odds with critical thinking. I know that sounds like an actual criticism or rather an insult, but it's not. It's just clearly what they say in their own writings. This is actually relatively easy to make sense of once you understand just a little bit about the ideologies that are shaping our age, and I'm going to help you respond with wisdom and virtue to them. So, first, you have to understand that gender theory is basically queer theory, all right, in philosophical terms. This is the field of philosophy called queer theory, and it falls underneath an adjacent category of critical disability theory and feminist theory. All of these like theories are all related back to critical theory. Of course, you've heard of critical race theory, and they all relate back to Marxism. I know that sounds like a conspiracy theory. It's not. It's just the ideological genealogy of this movement, and they say in their own writings, and they are opposed to critical thinking. And again, I think that sounds like an insult. It's not. It's again what they say in their own writings. This is a paper written, I believe, in 2017 by Allison Bailey called Tracking Privilege Preserving Epistemic Pushback in Feminist and Critical Race Philosophical Classes. I know that's a mouthful. But the reason why I want to come to this paper is because here she talks about the difference between critical thinking and critical theory. She says philosophers of education have long made the distinction between critical thinking and critical pedagogy. That just means teaching critical theory. The critical thinking tradition is concerned primarily with epistemic adequacy. To be critical in the critical thinking tradition is to show good judgment in recognition when arguments are faulty, assertions lack evidence, truth claims appeal to unreliable sources, or concepts are sloppily crafted and applied. For a critical thinker, which is what we should all be, the problem is that people fail to examine the assumptions and the commitments and logic of everyday life. Again, go back to what she was saying. I'm 28 and can't get my tubes tied, but a 14-year-old can be chemically castrated. Make it make sense. She is being a critical thinker. She is saying that the commitments are illogical. The assumptions behind what you're saying seem to contradict. You're producing cognitive dissonance. Again, she's being a critical thinker. They are critical theorists. Critical pedagogy begins from a different set of assumptions. They're saying it here. They have a different set of assumptions, different than critical thinking, and is rooted in the neo-Marxian literature, see, not a conspiracy theory, in critical theory, commonly associated with the Frankfurt School. The critical learner, that's somebody who's being taught to be a theorist, is someone who is empowered and motivated. That's usually not what you want to be when you're thinking. That just means you're building in bias. Being a motivated thinker is being a biased thinker. Motivated to do what? To seek justice and emancipation. The co-founder of Black Lives Matter, Patrice Cullors, has in her bio that emancipation is her religion. That's the lens through which they're seeing everything. Logic is not the lens by which they are measuring what they think and say or what they commit themselves to. Rather, it's emancipation, it's liberation. She goes on. The tools of the critical thinking tradition, for example, validity. Validity just means that your conclusions follow logically from your premises. Soundness and conceptual clarity cannot dismantle the master's house. They're all about destroying the bourgeoisie. He says these things fail because the critical thinker's toolkit is commonly invoked in particular settings at particular times to reassert power. What this young woman was doing in asking, make it make sense, make there be some sort of logically consistent reason why we will allow a 14-year-old who is statistically likely to outgrow her gender dysphoria just by the end of puberty, why we'll let her remove her breast tissue or take cross-sex hormones, possibly causing lifelong complications, when we won't let a 28-year-old do that. What she's doing is she is using the critical thinker's toolkit. and it's reinscribing power. It's reasserting the bourgeoisie. See, the whole point is to liberate all of us from the oppressive power structure that is reality itself. So, to put it as simply as possible, you, as a critical thinker, your highest goal is to try to ascertain what is true. For the critical theorist, what they are trying to get to is social transformation. And if truth is in the way, they will smash through that ceiling in order to get to what they consider to be emancipation. This is question begging at its absolute finest, the weaponization of compassion against your mind, which is why Elon Musk called it a mind virus. Check out that video there. And until next time, this is Unsafe Media, and I'm Ryan Martin. If you have not joined my Patreon yet, you probably also believe that gender is separate from sex. Join the Patreon, like, share, subscribe, and until next time, trust in God and keep your powder dry.